Whenever there is a cross-section of blame or mistake, you are responsible. You're like, I got it. It's my fault. These mistakes are not to be repeated. They can make $100 mistake one time, and the next mistake that make that next $100 better be about a new mistake. I got your back. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you could delegate to people. But even before you delegate to people, you need to know how to take radical responsibility. And if you do this, what I'm about to share with you, then you will be able to grow your business to the next level, no matter what business you're doing. And if you don't do this, then you are probably stuck and the business is not going to move forward. Here's the thing. When I was young, my dad, I was in 5th grade, I think. My dad said, make any mistakes. Screw up big. But if you do screw up, come and tell me that you did so that I could help you fix it. So if you come to me and tell me that you've screwed up something, then I will take care of that, no matter what it is. But if somebody else tells me, and if I know about it, that will be a nightmare for you. Is that clear? And so what happened is me and my sister was 3 years, my sister is 3 years older than me, and both of us will be running from our school. Something bad happens, we'll be running from our school to our dad. And we don't see our dad in the house, we'll be running to the field to see my dad, right? Or go to the little village town and run to him and say, hey, dad, I want to tell you something. And what's going on? Hey, this happened at school today. And dad is like, okay, I'll handle it. I got your back. I got your back. This management philosophy helped me manage people from 25 different countries, work in different countries, and adapt to different culture. It works for everybody. It helped me build multi-million-dollar companies in different parts of the world. So listen to this. So this is going to transform your business. So in order for you to understand how to take responsibility, you need to know what are the 3 types of mistakes. So essentially, there are 3 types of mistakes. One is my mistake, like the mistakes that I have as a CEO, right? The second is their mistakes, the mistakes that employees make, the people who you work for, the mistakes that they make. The third mistake is our mistake. I'm going to explain the third one for a second. This is clear. Like, my mistake is my mistake. I screwed up as a CEO, right? I had the best plan. I had the best vision. Didn't work out. Am I responsible, or somebody else is responsible? Right? Their mistake, somebody else did a mistake. Our mistake, I was involved with them. They were working on it too, and I was involved, and we screwed up. It's a we mistake, right? We. Our mistake. We made the mistake. What I have seen in the world is most CEOs, what they do is they blame other people for their mistakes, as in my mistakes, their mistakes, and our mistakes, all the 3. This is the dumbest thing ever for a CEO, right? Again, straight from my dad's handbook, right? So if you don't take responsibility for your mistake, you're teaching them to not take responsibility for their mistake either. Now what happens? People are blaming each other in your organization. And you're like, why are you guys blaming? Because you started it. You actually showed them you don't need to take responsibility when you screw up. And they are fighting with each other to blame each other. 2 vice presidents blaming each other, 2 managers blaming each other, 2 employees blaming each other. Why? Because you set the precedents. So if you want to be a successful CEO, what is the opposite answer? Let's take responsibility for everything. I am responsible for my mistake. I'm responsible for your mistakes. And I'm responsible for our mistake. That is dumb too. Why? These people are enablers. These are the people, what they do is they are enabling mistakes. Okay? If somebody is made mistake, they are responsible for that. So it's not extreme this way or extreme that way. Truth is in the middle, right? So you take responsibility for your mistake, and they take responsibility for their mistake, and I take responsibility for our mistake because I'm the CEO. Buck stop with me, right? So Look at that. That is what I call as radically responsible leader. A radical responsible leader is the model that is required for a CEO. As a CEO, you are radically responsible and you're a leader. You're letting them be responsible for their mistakes, and you're letting yourself be responsible for your mistake, and you are responsible for the collective mistake because you are the CEO. You cannot shift blame, because whenever there is a cross section of blame or mistake, you are responsible. You're like, I got it. It's my fault. I screwed it up. Makes sense? And that's where great CEOs flourish. So I'm sharing like what big CEOs, successful CEOs do. This will create a bias towards action. So what is a bias towards action? Bias towards action is employees are scared. They are not like, they are not like making as much money as you to take all the risk unless you let them, right? So which means that everybody's scared. Like, what if your parent was like really like friendly and everything, and then all of a sudden you either model them or you go opposite to them. So you might become a really friendly CEO. Then at that point, you'll be like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Let's relax. This is a Zen culture. We just want to have great fun here. We just want to experience life and feel joyful. This is one version. And if you don't like your parent, you'll be like, oh, no, I'm going to be really strict. I'm not going to be like my parent. That same parenting you bring in as a CEO into your company too. So you might be really strict, everything. You might be micromanaging. You might be like arrogant with people. Like you might be like getting angry for like small things, right? And what happens? Either of these things are not right. You need to learn how to be strong and courageous and compassionate at the same time, right? So they're responsible for their mistake. You are responsible for your mistake. You are responsible for the group mistake. Okay, that's where mistake allowance for employees come. So what is mistake allowance for an employee? So every employee basically should have an allowance, an amount that they could make a single mistake of. What does that mean? It means that your marketing executive or your sales guy, they can make, let's say, $100 mistake, and it's fine. And you will not be yelling at them, you lost $100 for the company, then they wouldn't want to take a risk. They wouldn't want to take initiative. Make sense? So what you need to do is you need to decide what is the risk that this person can do. So I'll give you a general idea. Your lowest level employees, let's say, they can take $100 risk, all of them, one time. Okay? This is not $100 cheating, like they stole $100 and left. That's not the idea. When they took a decision, they made a $100 mistake. It's okay. Your media level employees can do a $250 mistake. Okay? And you'll be like, are you teaching my employees to make mistake? I'll explain that in a second. How do you handle that? And then your senior people might be able to do a $1,000 mistake, and it's perfectly fine. And if you have an extremely like kind of C-level executive, they might be able to do a $10,000 or $100,000 mistake, depending upon the size of your company. So here is the thing. These mistakes are not to be repeated. They can make a $100 mistake one time, and the next mistake that make that next $100 better be about a new mistake. They cannot repeat the mistake. Does that make sense? They cannot repeat the mistake. They can do one mistake. They can do one mistake, $100, okay. Don't do the thing again. They will get a warning. If they do the third time, they are fired. We cannot handle that, right? They should know that. But if they made a mistake on $100, they took a risk, they took initiative, and they made a mistake, it's fine. They make another mistake on a different problem, a different thing that is not same at all, then yeah, that's fine. They could make unlimited mistakes. This is how we learn as a species. So you're giving them an environment where they could flourish. They could take mistake, and they will be, when I work with people from different countries and I ask them, like 10% of the people didn't hate working with me, right? So just to give you an idea, 90% of the people really loved working with me. The single most thing, like when I exited companies and after I worked with them, I asked them, hey, when I decide hey, I'm exiting the company, they get scared. And I asked them, why are you scared? Ruble, who's going to hold me when I fall next time? That has been the single most thing that everybody said when I exited companies. When I was working, when I quit the job, This is what people said. Who's going to hold me if I fall down? Because I cannot take risk anymore. Now I have to play safe. Safe. See, people are already scared. They don't know about money. They don't know. They don't have financial security. They don't have the resolve to reserve so much money. So they are already feeling insecure. And now, if they feel insecure and they feel like they have to play safe and not take initiative, what happens? The company is not going to go anywhere. Makes sense? That's why we should have mistake allowance. And that brings me to my final point, 5 levels of delegation. So I couldn't even talk about delegation until you know how to take responsibility. Because if you delegate to somebody, more than most of the time, what happens is people say, oh, I delegated this thing, and oh my gosh, what an irresponsible person they are. They're not even taking initiative. Why? They're not taking initiative because you are not doing them any favor by blaming them last time. That's why they are not taking initiative. Does that make sense? Yeah. So take responsibility. Tell them, bring your employees. If you have been playing this game of blame game, bring all your employees and say, you know what? Today, I'm going to do 3 things. 1, if I screw up from today, I'm going to tell you, I screwed up. I raise my hand and I blame myself. I take responsibility. Okay. If I work with you on any project and we fail, I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to be responsible. If we win, I will give you credit. And this is another piece that is important, which I was not planning to cover. But if you and I work together and then we win, then I give you credit. We lose, I take responsibility. It is a confidence play because you feel secure. You don't need to feel validated from our victory. You are successful in doing something, you have the credit. We together did something and we won, you get the credit. We fail, I get responsibility. They fail, they are responsible. This is a balanced approach of growing to the next level. So 5 levels of delegation before we finish. Level 1 of delegation is like you bring a new employee, you are actually delegating research for them. You're just giving them research. Okay, let's say you want to go for a road trip, and let's say you live in US and you live in, let's say, New York, and you want to go to California. You want to go on a road trip, and you want somebody to book the first hotel, let's say somewhere in Ohio, and all of a sudden you tell them, hey, fine, there's a city called Columbus, Ohio. So I want to buy a ticket for Columbus, Ohio for July 23rd, 2025, and research, find out how much is the cost, how many hours it is from New York, and when is a check-in, and all kind of things like that, and get back to me and tell me so that I could do the next step. And if they do this good, then you give them the next level of delegation, which is a task delegation. Go ahead and book that hotel, the Hilton in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, in downtown, and book that hotel and make sure that I'll have my dog with me. So make sure that it's pet friendly and book that ticket. That's the second level of delegation. So research delegation and then task delegation. You got it so far? Third is project delegation. By the way, Sumi, I will be traveling a lot this year. So I want you to entirely manage my travel project. Entirely manage my travel project. I don't want to think about it. You plan it. Of course, I'll have Sweetie Pie, my dog, with me. Because Sweetie Pie is with me, I want to make sure that it's a pet-friendly hotel all the time, and I want to make sure that all the facilities are there. I'll be driving sometimes. I'm flying. So make sure that my air tickets, my hotels and everything is taken care of. And you make sure that these places that I'm traveling are safe and everything, so I don't need to think about it. This is your project. This is your baby. You manage it. This is a third level of delegation, which is project delegation. That brings to the next level. By the way, if a new employee joins your company and if they're junior, they'll start here. They start at research, they go to task, and they go to projects, right? But if you hire a senior person, they go to a department delegation. You delegated an entire department to that person. Which means, by the way, when you move from this place, so in the initial level, it will be $10 risk allowance or mistake allowance. Then it could be 100. This could be 250, and this could be $1,000. And this person, I'll tell you in a second. Okay, I'll tell you what is a risk tolerance for that person. So the next level is fourth level delegation, which is department delegation. You're delegating a department to that person. So don't go micromanage and do a puppet show. Don't try to control him. Oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. Listen to them first. Understand what their ideas are. And then course correct them, help them to identify and improve it. That's what you're going to do. You're not going to go and tell them, hey, this is exactly what we need to do. This is how we do it. This is what we have been doing. Then all of a sudden, the thrill is gone. They have to figure it out. Allow them to figure it out. Allow them to figure out a way to manage it the way they want to manage. And if you see a critical error, then we fix it for them. Otherwise, let them make small mistakes. This is how they are going to learn. Allow them the opportunity to learn. Okay. And finally, the company itself, the business itself is delegated. Let's say you grow to a level where you have multiple $10 million companies, then you could delegate an entire company. You hire a CEO and you have delegated the entire company to that person, and assuming that the person is trustworthy and credible and everything and will not cheat and everything, that is really important. But the key point is you delegated the damn company to them. They probably might be able to take a $1 million mistake, and they make a mistake. This is part of the game. This is part of the thing, right? So you need to be able to figure out what this risk tolerance is, how much risk that they could take so that your company can be successful. The bottom line of this video is we have your back. I have your back. Like if you say that, I got it, no matter what happens, I got you. Like when you're working together on a project, I got you. And if people make mistakes for the first time, allow them to make mistakes. If they come to you, allow them to make mistakes. Tell them, please don't repeat mistakes. Please don't repeat mistakes. Come up with new mistakes. And when they make new mistakes, they will explore. They will bring their creativity. They'll bring their initiative. And just by doing this, your company is going to grow. The companies where people are taking initiative, what happens? Just because of that, companies 20% like grown. The revenue is 20% up just because of the initiative factor, because they are willing to take risk and they're willing to take initiative, but you are not letting them. If your team members are not taking responsibility, it's your fault. It's my fault. If my team members are not taking responsibility, if they are not taking initiative, it's my fault. I am responsible for that. That's the end of this video. I'll see you next time.